Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a really fascinating part of the creative journey. If you've been working your heart out crafting your lyrics, you might think you're ready to just jump right into recording. But today, we're zooming in on a core concept, choosing the exact music that best carries your song's emotional message straight to the listener. It is officially time to give your story a sound.
So, here's our creative roadmap for today. We'll be looking at music as the vehicle, finding the emotional atmosphere, choosing your musical elements, thinking like a producer, and finally prompting AI with emotion. Okay, let's dive right into section 1, music as the vehicle. When a lot of creators start out, they ask, what style of music do I like? But honestly, the better question is, what style best tells this specific story? Musical styles should never, ever come before the story's purpose. Imagine reading Psalm 23, a passage famous for comfort and peace. Now imagine reading those words while aggressive heavy metal music is just blasting in the background. It's completely ridiculous, right? But if you take that exact same text and pair it with a gentle, sweeping piano and soft strings, wow. The words haven't changed one bit, but the experience, it's entirely transformed. The music completely dictates how people actually receive your message. Which brings us to a quote I absolutely love. The music isn't the destination. The music is the vehicle that carries your message. That is so absolutely crucial. It basically means that every single creative choice you make from here on out, the tempo, the instruments, the vocalist, all of it has to serve one primary goal, helping your listener actually feel the true emotion behind your words.
All right, moving to section 2, finding the emotional atmosphere.
So before you even think about picking up an instrument or typing a genre into an AI tool, you have to identify your song's emotional destination. And that brings us to, honestly, the most important question you can ask yourself today. How do I want people to feel when they hear this song? You really need to sit with that. The answer to this specific question, it becomes your compass. Whenever you're stuck on a musical choice later down the road, you just come right back to this feeling and ask, hey, does this choice communicate the emotion, or is it just distracting from it?
Like, are you aiming for quiet trust or maybe a massive joyful celebration? Is your song an honest confession, or does it feel more like peace after the storm? By pinning down the exact vibe right off the bat, you guarantee that the music you eventually create actively supports your message instead of accidentally fighting against it. Let's keep it moving with section 3, choosing your musical elements.
Okay, now that we've got our emotional compass dialed in, it's time to break down some specific musical components. Take tempo and voice, for example. Tempo dictates your pacing. A slower tempo literally gives your listeners the physical space they need to absorb deeply meaningful lyrics. On the flip side, a faster tempo naturally builds a sense of excitement and celebration. And then there's the voice. The vocal itself acts as a totally separate storyteller. A mature, experienced voice communicates immense comfort and authenticity, while a softer voice might beautifully communicate vulnerability. The voice just has to be believable for the message you're sharing.
And that exact same intention applies to your instrumentation, too. A piano feels incredibly intimate and personal. An acoustic guitar creates this warm, almost conversational space. Strings add profound depth and emotional movement. And a saxophone can introduce a real sense of soulful reflection or longing. There are no hard and fast rules here, folks, just intentional choices. Every single instrument you pick needs to actively serve your message.
Section 4, thinking like a producer.
It is time for a mindset shift. We are officially taking off our songwriter hats and putting on our producer hats. Because as your songwriting grows, you have to stop just writing and start producing. A producer is always evaluating the overall experience. Step 1, manage those dynamics. Real conversations have quiet moments and loud moments, and your song should too. Let it breathe and build naturally. Step 2, leave room for the lyrics. If your arrangement is so dense that it's fighting with the vocals, the story is lost. And step 3, simplify. This is a big one. Sometimes adding less creates so much more impact. Production isn't about cramming every single second with sound. It's about making the sound meaningful. Here is a massive takeaway you've got to remember. Beautiful production cannot rescue confusing lyrics, but thoughtful production can elevate meaningful words. At the end of the day, the listener showed up for the story above all else. Your production choices are just there to elevate those words, not overpower them. And finally, section 5, prompting AI with emotion. So let's take this whole creative vision and actually translate it into an actionable style prompt for AI music generation tools. If you just log in and type "create a pop song,"
Well, that's a prime example of exactly what not to do. It's a lazy prompt. You completely miss the chance to guide the AI's emotional output, and you're basically letting the algorithm make all the creative decisions for you.
Now, contrast that with a prompt driven by actual emotion. Warm, intimate, piano-driven, inspirational ballad with expressive, mature vocals and gentle strings that gradually build into a hopeful chorus, right? That should be a total aha moment for you. Instead of just throwing out a genre, we're describing feelings, movement, specific instruments, and vocal styles. You are painting a rich, emotional picture for the AI to follow. To get to that perfect prompt, I really challenge you to try this direct application exercise. Honestly, do this offline with a real pen and paper before you ever open up a music platform. First, read your completed lyrics. Second, close your eyes and just imagine the feeling of the song. Third, write a quick paragraph describing that specific emotional experience. And finally, use that paragraph as the absolute foundation for your prompt.
So I'm going to leave you with this one provocative question. What should your story sound like? You've got the tools now. You have your emotional compass, and you've got that producer mindset ready to go. Don't let technology choose the sound of your heart. Be intentional, draft a highly emotional style prompt, and give your story the beautiful vehicle it truly deserves. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I seriously cannot wait to see what you create.